Gradual takeoff there. We're already up to 15 miles an hour. 20. 22. How fast does this go? 25. 27. Holy crap. I'm currently riding one very impressive e-bike, and I think it has all the features you might be looking for. It's known as the Engwe Engine Pro, and in this video, I'm going to tell you all about it. Welcome back. So before we continue, I do want to say a special thanks to the people over at Engwe for sending this bike out to me for review. When they contacted me and showed me the specs of this bike, I immediately jumped on it and knew I had to share it with all of you. So thanks again to the people over at Engwe. So in this video, we are going to talk about the Engwe Engine Pro. This is an upgraded version. And in this video, we're going to go over all the features of the bike, do a test ride to see how well it performs, including a top speed test and hill climbing test. And lastly, I'm going to share my thoughts about good and not so good regarding this bike. Now let's talk about some of the features of the bike, and anything I don't share or that you want more information on, you can always check the website, which will be linked down below. Starting off up here with the handlebars, we do have a few things going on. Namely is the grips. These are faux leather grips. Although they're not real leather, they look good, but they feel great. They're actually really soft and comfortable. Easily do a long ride without your hands getting cramped up or stiff or anything like that. Compared to other bikes that have the hard plastic grips, I think all bikes should come with grips similar to this. On the right hand side, we do have our Shimano 8-speed transmission system. In the middle here is your full color LCD display screen, which does share your speed, mileage, power output. Everything you need to know will be displayed on the screen here. Come over here, we do have our control module. It is a 5-button design. So the left button is your power on and off, long press it. The right button is for your headlight to turn it on and off. The middle info button will allow you to toggle through odometer, trip, average speed, stuff like that. But if you long press the info button, you can switch between eco mode, normal mode, and sport mode. And we do have plus and minus for your pedal assist modes. Now, something that is offered is that you can actually customize the settings within the software. So if you long press plus and minus, it will bring you to a sub menu. Over there, you could turn cruise control on and off. You could turn the headlight to be automatic or manual. But more importantly, you can actually customize the output of the pedal assist modes. So there's 5 pedal assist modes. You could go into each mode and put what output you want, anywhere from 1% up to 100%. So if you don't like the way it comes from the manufacturer, you could fine tune it to your liking. And that's something that's not offered on a lot of bikes. They only come set from the manufacturer, but they allow you to do it based on your needs, your likings. So that is a great additional feature. Next to the control module is your thumb throttle. So those of you that are looking for a thumb throttle e-bike, this bike does have it. Others I've reviewed does have the half twist throttle, but thumb throttle is another nice addition on this bike. And just below that, you will find your horn button. Now the handlebars themselves are adjustable. You can have them all the way down or raise them up based on the size of you and your comfort level. And just below that, we do have the release mechanism, which allows you to collapse the handlebars down for when you are traveling with the bike. As we come below that, we do have our front hydraulic fork suspension, a headlight, which is decently bright for an e-bike, and it does have front and rear fenders. They actually come standard on the bike. A lot of other bike companies want you to buy that as an additional accessory. The fenders come standard on this bike. It also does have 20 by 4-inch fat tires. That's a very common size on e-bikes, so you can easily get them at bike shops or even on Amazon. As you come across here to the middle of the frame, this is where the 48-volt battery system is held. Charging port is right here. And as always, you can always remove the battery to charge it. So just an example, if you take this bike to work, instead of bringing the whole bike to the charging location, you could just take the battery out and charge up the battery. And then when you're ready to go back home, it's charged up and you're ready to go. Now, of course, to power on the bike and to remove the battery, you do need the keys. The key slot is below the battery compartment here. You turn it one way to lock the battery in place, which will allow you to power on the bike. Turn it the other way to unlock the battery to remove it. On the opposite side here, there is the release mechanism to fold the bike in half for when you are transporting with it. Just below that, we do have a secondary suspension system. So there is front and rear suspension on this bike. As we move over here, the seat, I have to say, and I usually am critical about this, this bike has the best seat that's ever come on an e-bike, or even a bike in general. It is so soft, so plush, so comfortable. It's far ahead of any other bike seat that's come on bikes I've reviewed. There's no need to upgrade this. It feels great just the way it is. And I'd love to see other bikes out there come with something similar to this, because it feels really comfortable. I can't say enough good things about it. Now, as we come over to the pedals here, these are collapsible pedals. All you do is push in, and you could push up or down to flatten them out. Again, just makes it easier for transporting, so there's nothing hard protruding out. It just makes it a little bit more compact. The rear here, we do have a rack. Again, this comes standard on the bike. This is not an optional accessory. It comes standard. So if you are someone who's going to maybe do some long distance riding, you could put a bag on here, even maybe saddlebags. What I'm planning on doing is getting a milk crate, strapping it on here. I can put my backpack in there, anything I want, even grocery bags. Even if you want to do some camping, you can carry your camping gear on this back rack, which does come standard. Below that, we do have our 750 watt motor. And on the very back is your tail light / brake light. So when the headlight's on, the tail light is on. And when you do hit the brakes, the lights do come on as well. So it's great to have a functioning brake light. A couple other quick things to note, that this has a 60-mile range. Now again, as always, it's estimated based on the rider's size, the terrain, and which pedal assist mode you're using. So you could get up to nearly 60 miles of range under optimal conditions. Otherwise though, it does weigh 83 pounds. It is a heavier bike, but it's not overly heavy, but it's a big bike. I mean, it's bigger than my Jayceon. As far as I know, it's bigger than the electric light bike. It's a beefier bike, but it feels great. It's really well made, and it can hold a capacity up to 300 pounds. Now there's two features I'm saving for last. Now one is that this has disc brakes, but this is the very first bike I'm reviewing that has hydraulic disc brakes. So unlike other e-bikes I review that has mechanical disc brakes, you are responsible for constantly adjusting those brakes as the pads wear down. Where on this, they adjust automatically, just like in your car. The hydraulic fluid pressure, it keeps the pads at the right distance as they wear down. You don't have to do anything with them, so which means less maintenance for you. Now that's something that's typically found on higher end bikes, typically over $2,000. The price of this bike that they offer that is phenomenal. Now the other great feature, and this, as far as I know, doesn't come on any other bike that I've heard of. This has a built-in regen power system. They actually label it on the bike here as a energy recovery system. And what that means is when you're riding in pedal assist 0 or 1, if you're going above 12 miles per hour, the power that you're not using, it will actually send back into the battery. And it actually shows it on the display. You'll see a green bar on the power output showing that's putting power back into the battery. So as an example, if you're doing a lot of hill riding, when you're coasting downhill in pedal assist 0 or 1 going above 12 miles an hour, it will kind of hold you back. You can feel the motor slowing you down. So not only does it help save on your brakes, but it's actually helping recharge your battery, which means you're gonna get the most distance, most life, most length out of your battery and out of your ride. Compared to other bikes with similar specs, this is gonna go further than those bikes that don't have that built-in regen system. And I will try to demonstrate that a little bit later on in the video. So what do you think? How do those features sound? Like I said, I'm pretty sure it has all the features you want and then some. Right now, we're gonna do a test ride, and we're not only gonna see how it performs overall as a bike itself, but we're gonna do a top speed test with the throttle. We're gonna try to do some hill climbing. And then lastly, I'm gonna share some good and not so good thoughts, because although this bike is great, it's not perfect. And I'll get to that a little bit later on. Right now, let's hop on it and do some riding. So for demonstration purposes, I'm going to be in sport mode the entire time. That's going to give you the most power, the most speed, the most output, most performance of this bike and the motor. I'm also not going to go through and do top speed tests of the pedal assist modes because frankly it's going to be dependent on if you're in eco, normal, or sport, and what your ratings are set at for the customization in the submenu for your pedal assist. But now we're going to do a throttle top speed test. And before we do that, I do need to mention something. This is something I did encounter while doing some riding. I did confirm it with the manufacturer. Now on most other e-bikes I've reviewed, well actually all of them I've reviewed, when you hit the throttle, you have 100% power at all times, regardless of which pedal assist you're in. On this bike, your throttle power output is going to be dependent on which pedal assist mode you're in. So for example, if you're in pedal assist 1, you're going to get minimum power through the throttle. If you're in pedal assist 5, you're going to get maximum power through the throttle. That's something that can't be changed, but it is confirmed through the manufacturer that is the way it is set up. Now I'm going to talk a little bit more about that a little bit later on, but right now I'm in sport mode. We're going to go to mode 5 and we're going to do a top speed test, throttle only, and we'll see what this is capable of. Here we go. Nice gradual takeoff there. We're already up to 15 miles an hour. 20. 22. How fast does this go? 25. 27. Holy crap. 28. 29. 29.5. Holy crap. Wow. I did not expect that. 29.5 miles per hour. That's by far the fastest e-bike I have that I've ever ridden on. And we just did a great controlled stop with the hydraulic brakes. It stopped efficiently and quickly. Wow, that blew me away. I was not expecting that at all. So let me talk a little bit more about that throttle system. Now for me, I'm just used to having full throttle power on the e-bikes I've ridden and own. Now I could see it being a bit of an issue with this example. If I'm pedaling in pedal assist 1 or 2 and I encounter a hill or an incline, if I want more power, typically I just hit the throttle and I get a power boost. Where right now I'm in pedal assist 1 pedaling 9 miles an hour. If I hit the throttle, I get no more power because it's already limited to this pedal assist mode. So essentially when you're pedaling, the throttle is ineffective. So I'm hitting the throttle, no change at all. Now if I stop pedaling, I'll hit the throttle and it will then take over and maintain the speed. But throttle does not work in conjunction with pedaling at the same time. It's one or the other. If they were able to do something about that, I think it would be a better option to have full power at all times. Now up here we're going to have a hill coming up, and since I'm in pedal assist 1, I'm going to leave it there because when we coast, if you watch this meter bar here, we should see a green line and we should see negative wattage on the display showing it's going to start recharging as we're coasting, and we should be able to demonstrate that just up here. Okay, you see, negative 35 watts. The green bar is going up, negative 70 watts. We are recharging right now. As long as you stay above that 12 miles per hour, coasting in 0 or 1 pedal assist mode, you will get that recharge activated. Now, to touch on that, if you're a mostly flat level rider, not only is that throttle thing I talked about not going to really play a factor because you're not going to need that power boost, but with the regen system, if you're not encountering many hills, especially downhill, that regen system is not going to really play a factor. It is great that it's offered, it's great that it works, but it's only going to work under the specific conditions, which is above 12 miles per hour, pedal assist 0 or 1, primarily downhill when you're coasting. Now, the only other way around that is if you're in pedal assist 0, which is no assist, it's pure manual power. If you pedal above 12 miles an hour, you could activate that regen system. And even though we're on a flat level surface here, a paved surface, you know, there are some bumps and bounces. The bike feels like a Cadillac. No word to lie. The seat is so very comfortable. The front and rear suspension is doing its job. And plus having the 4-inch fat tires, it's like riding on a cloud. I could ride this all day and I'd have no issues at all. It is the most comfortable bike I've ridden. And the fact that it could go 30 miles an hour, that's crazy. So I'm going to cover some distance here, and we're going to get to an area to do some hill climbing tests, because they advertise with this 750 watt motor that you can climb some pretty steep hills. So we're going to put it to the test. Another thing I want to point out, this is a 750 watt motor. This is capable of putting out at nearly 1,000 watts when necessary. So look at the screen here. I'm at 999 watts. It could put out nearly 1,000 watts. Wow, we hit 30. 31. Woo! Wow! We went even faster that time. Another thing too is that cruise control kicked in. So I'm going to demonstrate it here. You keep the throttle on steady for a few seconds, and there, it's maintaining the power and speed. So I'm hands-free on the throttle. Cruise control is activated, and I can essentially go hands-free. And look at it, it's a pretty stable bike. Now, if you want to take off cruise control, just hit the throttle and or the brakes, and that will disengage cruise control. Now it's time for the hill climbing test. So ahead of me, I do have some slight downhills and then gradually steeper uphills, and it is a dirt trail. I'm going to have it in sport mode, pedal assist 5, which will give us the most power. I'm going to pedal along with it, and we're going to see if it can actually climb the hill or not. It's going to be a tough climb, but we'll see what it could do. So let's go. All right, here comes the first hill. Oh, geez. All right, we're down to 6 miles an hour, but we're still climbing. That was really steep and rugged. There's another steep part. 7, 6. Looks like we didn't drop below 6 miles per hour. That was a really steep, rugged hill. And it made it. Coming back down, we're gonna see how the suspension is. Yeah, it's doing a great job. This is rough, but it's manageable. Yeah, suspension works really well. Wow, what a bike. I am so thoroughly impressed. I can't even describe it. That bike, hands down, the best bike I've ever ridden or reviewed. So a couple things I want to share. Because this bike is great, it's not perfect. I touched base on it earlier. That throttle issue. For me, I don't really care for the way it's set up. I wish in the future, or somehow they'd be able to have future versions of this bike, or to do a software update through the submenu where you could turn the throttle to 100% power at all times. If they do that, it'd be the perfect bike. The way it is though, it's not a deal breaker, it's just something that you have to get used to, but I like on the other bikes having the additional power boost through the throttle when you need it. But regardless, this is still a beast of a bike. I mean, we climbed some steep hills. We got over 30 miles per hour. I can't believe it. I could chase trains in this bike. I could stay with the flow of traffic in the city. This bike is going to basically take you anywhere and everywhere and get there quickly, to say the least. Despite my complaint though, this bike has so many things going for it. The super plush seat, hydraulic disc brakes, the regen system, 750 watt motor, the fenders and the rack coming standard. They really want you to get the most for your money. And right now, as of today, this bike comes in at just under $1,500. Down below in the description and pinned comment, I'll have a link to Amazon and their website where you can get more information and to find out the latest pricing. But as of today, just under $1,500. Amazon actually has a coupon where you can get it closer to $1,400. A bike with these specs and these features, typically you'd be spending well over $2,000. So if you are looking to get your first e-bike or an additional e-bike, the Engwe Engine Pro 750 watt is the way to go. It's foldable, it's heavy duty, it's got everything you could ever want and then some. I don't know how else to describe it. It's my favorite bike and I can't wait to do more adventures with it. With that being said, if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask them down below. I do want to thank you for watching today's review. And thanks again to Engwe for reaching out to me, because if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be able to share this bike with all of you. To see more bike reviews, or even scooter reviews, I will have a link down below for that as well. Otherwise, take care everyone, stay safe, and until next time, I'll see you real soon in the next video.